Hi, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the 8 a.m. check-in. It's Monday morning. Just making sure I have that right. My 7-year-old just asked me what day it was and was hoping, quote, that there was a glitch, and it was Sunday again. I thought that was charming. Also something I could relate to, a glitch, like a glitch in the system. What day is it again? I am happy to be here with you this morning. I want to continue our checking in, our conversation around who we are, bringing that more into light. I've been thinking about the things that we have talked about. We've covered a lot of ground in these last 6 or 7 weeks. We've talked about the importance of emotions. We've talked about how to stay aware of them, where they show up in the body. We've talked about how to soften around them, how to be curious with them, how to be observers. Take this zoomed out perspective, how our thoughts and feelings aren't who we are. They are part of this human experience. And the more we can be curious and let them run through us, the more resilient we are. Really, the more content we are overall. And the more we get to really have the full experience of life and all that it offers us. I want to talk about emotions today, and we're going to touch on beliefs as well. But I want to talk about the importance of our emotions as messengers. This is just another framework for understanding and also really validating the importance of staying attuned to what's happening inside of us. In my personal experience, professional experience, and all of the reading that I do, really having a full life with that emotional resilience, the two biggest factors are, they say, mindfulness, and we can call that awareness, right? So that staying connected to ourselves, to our physical body, staying open to what is happening in our experience from moment to moment, or just in general. And then the other important aspect is curiosity. And we've been talking a lot about that. How to not be so attached to what is happening inside of us, but to take that different perspective, that observer perspective. And so today I want to talk about, in that aspect of being that observer, how important our emotions are really messengers. They come and they go. They flow through us. We can choose to hold on to them. We can choose to grasp onto them, stuff them, contain them. We can keep a hold of them. But they're really meant to run through us. This is how our nervous system really is wired. And we can see this out in nature, with dogs and wild animals and just animals in general. They let their experience run through them and they discharge energy. And we want to be better about that. Right. And the way that we are better about that is by not attaching judgment to any of the emotions that we're having, about what is okay to express, what's not, what's okay to even feel, and what's not. Right. Just allowing for it. So emotions as messengers, these emotions inform us of what we're needing in the moment. And so many of us get caught up in that question, what do I need? And that's because we lose touch, right? We've lost touch with what it is that we really need. For so many of us, we're so attuned to what other people need and what we need to do for them. We lose touch with the things that we really need. And in order to get more in touch with the things that we really need, we have to be able to identify what we're feeling, because it's in the emotion. The emotion, the feeling, informs the need. There are general messages, we can talk in a very general way. There are general messages that emotions can carry, like anxiety can carry the message of I'm feeling out of control, right? And grief can carry a message of what have I lost? Anger can carry the message of what boundary has been crossed or what injustice is happening. Something can feel unfair. And these are great places to start, right? It doesn't necessarily mean that is specifically the message that is being carried for us within that particular emotion at this particular time. It's a framework for us to step in and start asking our own questions. What message is this feeling carrying for me for right here, right now? There's a lot of ways we can tune into that, right? Emotions, when we hold them in the body, when we are not accustomed to allowing them to run through us, which is most of us, right? That's not our default to let them run through us. When we're feeling more heavy, lethargic, having more of those depressive symptoms, that is an indicator. What are we holding on to that we need to let go of? How do I move? I need to move energy when I'm feeling like this. When I am feeling like I'm swirling and about to leave my body, or can't stop, just that fidgety anxiousness, what is it that I need to really be with? What is it that I'm running from? What is it that I don't want to look at? What is it that I don't want to be with? And when our energy is like that, we really want to work on bringing in that resource of grounding. So how do I bring in my resources to be able to be with that discomfort? We're building tolerance every time we do this. So that can be one aspect of what we need when I'm feeling heavy and lethargic and low and hopeless and powerless. I know at one level I need to move. I need to move my body. And when I am feeling like I am swirling, at one level I know that I need to ground. And then we can begin the questioning. We can begin being curious when we can bring our system a little bit more into balance. And again, when we do this, we're building that emotional resilience. We're not judging. We're taking that first step of what do I need for right now. The extra important part, so the other layer of what emotions carry within them, that they can carry messages that deliver us to our beliefs. And when we want to make significant changes to patterns in our life, this is the information that we need. We need to know what beliefs we're operating from. And some of these beliefs are conscious. We're very aware of them. A lot of them we're not. A lot of them are running in the background in our subconscious. And a lot of the beliefs that we're carrying are inadvertent beliefs. These are not necessarily beliefs that are in alignment with who we are and how we are today in our lives. Not something that we actively chose. These are beliefs that were imprints. These are the beliefs that were passed on through generations, or the beliefs that were passed on through our culture, or our particular family system, or our particular community. These might be beliefs that we're just not consciously aware of, that are running in the background, informing our thoughts, right? Informing what we do with our feelings. So emotions carry messages that can deliver us to our beliefs. Some of those are conscious and some run deeper. What's so important here are both of those elements that I talked about in the beginning, is having an awareness first that something is activated in me, and two, having the curiosity to be able to explore that. Emotions can have, they can be complex, right? It doesn't always have to be, it isn't always, and it rarely is actually just one layer, one particular emotion. They can cluster together. We can feel that anger, and maybe that is more based on our constitution and a default emotion that we do feel. But if we peel back the anger, if we let ourselves explore the anger, asking ourselves, is there anything underneath that anger? Am I hurt? Am I anxious? Am I fearful? Like what is underneath? So asking ourselves these questions, identifying one emotion and letting that be our starting point to ask this series of questions, being curious. What else am I feeling? Letting those questions and answers inside each of us guide us to, and what belief am I operating from right now? This is, while perhaps somewhat simple, not necessarily always easy to have access to. It takes practice with that curiosity, with that questioning, right? When we get to these beliefs of, an example of I'm feeling heavy, and perhaps I feel sad, I feel powerless. I'm digging, I'm being curious, I'm peeling back the layers. And what is that belief underneath those emotions? What are those emotions bringing me to? What belief is there that's operating right now? And perhaps it's that I'm never going to be safe, that I'm never going to be happy, that I can't really do the things that I want to do. And having an awareness, shining a light that belief is even in my consciousness, whether it's in my subconscious, that it's operating at all, is incredibly important if we want to change it. Right? So once I know that it's there, I can ask myself, is this a belief that I consciously chose? Or did this belief get imprinted in me along the way? Does it belong elsewhere? Even asking the question, there's no right or wrong here, just being curious. And no matter what your answer is, the next question can be, and is this a belief in alignment with who I am today, right here, right now? Do I want to continue to nurture this belief, or do I want to work on changing this belief? We all have these beliefs running in the background. And I thought that what could be really great in our time this morning is to find that shared connection, using this platform right here, right now. So we know that we're not the only ones with these beliefs running in the background. So I want to invite you to participate if you're willing. What beliefs are you aware of or have touched upon that are operating for you right here, right now? Beliefs that perhaps you do want to work on changing. Beliefs that maybe were a surprise, maybe not a surprise. Maybe you have been conscious about it, and maybe it has been eye-opening. And while I give you time to sit with that, to think about that, to see if there's anything that you do want to share, so we know that we're not alone in this, I'll share with you some of the beliefs that I have been working on, that I discovered and I have been working on changing. probably one of the biggest beliefs that runs all the way back to the beginning for me is this belief of being emotional makes me too much, or which makes me vulnerable, which makes me weak, right? There's a lot, it's a multifaceted belief. It just goes on. In other words, having emotions, being emotions, no good. No good. That is a belief that I have been working on changing for a long time. And it will still show up. But now that I'm aware that it's there, I can work with it in a much different way. Right? I can let my emotions be the messenger and let me know when it's activated. And then I can come back and I can work with it in a different way. So what beliefs are you all working on changing right here, right now? Another belief for me that I've been working on for a long time is going it alone is safer. I know I talked about this before in terms of belonging, how it just felt safer to hold on to myself and not be vulnerable in any kind of connection. And that is a belief I am working on transforming, because that doesn't get me into the full experience of life. Being connected is such an important part of this being human and brings so many experiences that I long for. So that's a belief I'm working on changing. Right, so here's a belief of I am not being heard, always told not to point out what's in front of me. So belief about your own voice, right? A belief about it doesn't matter if I say it, no one's going to hear it. And if I say it, they're going to tell me to stop saying it, right? That's an important belief to really shine a light on. And attuning to where you're heard is tough. So that's an important part. Thank you for bringing that up. That's an important part of the other side of this, right? Is when we get in touch with the belief of I'm never heard, or my emotions make me weak, whatever the belief is, we want to ask ourselves, is this really true? And part of how we can be curious about that is starting to look and attune to evidence of the contrary. Where are the ways where I am heard? Where are the ways where I actually feel more empowered when I let myself be emotional? Right? And that's the work of healing and transforming these beliefs. Yes, a belief of if I'm thin, then I'll be happy. This is such a deeply, deeply rooted belief for so many people. If I can just get control of this one aspect, everything will be okay, right? And when we have that reinforced over and over and over again, whether that's in our families, in our culture, in our communities, this is such an important one that we want to hold very gently and ask very gently when that's activated for us. Is this true? Is this true? There's so many aspects and levels and layers of happiness. And is this true? When we hold so tight to if this, then this, so important to shine a light on it and know you're not alone in that as well. Thank you for sharing that. The belief that if I'm alone, I've been abandoned. Yes, this is also a really, really deeply rooted belief, right? And again, knowing what emotions can arise that are the messenger that this has been activated in you is so, in all of us, is so important, right? Because then we can start to attune and ask ourselves, is this true? Is this true? And where are the places where I'm not abandoned, even if I am alone? Where are the places where I can still feel connected or a sense of belonging, even if I'm not alone? And this is also an opportunity to stretch and expand and nurture transforming this belief by starting with not abandoning ourselves, right? Can I be alone with myself and not abandon myself? Because we do this all the time and reinforce these beliefs just within us. We don't even need anyone to play along. So asking ourselves over and over and over, is this true? Is this true? So important. Thank you so much for sharing that. A belief around emotions too, it ties in with old belief about trust. I'm working on trusting my feelings and body. Yes. When we are told to not trust our emotions, when we're told that what we're feeling is not real, or it is exaggerated, or you're being too sensitive, we lose trust in ourselves. Absolutely. And the other piece of that is any people who are dealing with any kind of illness, there can be that validates that. I can't trust my body, right? I can't trust my emotions, and I can't trust my body. And working on attuning to the other side of that. Is that true? And if it is true in certain aspects, is it true all of the time? Right? Finding that middle, which is part of that transforming, healing that belief. Doc. Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much for sharing that. And what's so beautiful, and thank you for the validation here too. What's so beautiful is that when we share these deep, dark beliefs, it helps all of us, even if it isn't necessarily a belief that I'm carrying. I can resonate with that in some way. There is always an aspect of what everybody else's wounding is, whatever their healing path is. There is always an aspect that we can look at and say, wow, do I have any piece of that within me? It helps us shine more of a light on what is happening inside of us, which is the gift of connection. It is the gift of coming together, of being with the willingness to be vulnerable and a little more open with what is happening inside of us. It gives permission, and it also helps people garner new awareness of what might be happening inside of them as well. So I thank you so much for all of you who were willing to share, because it really is such a gift for all of us, and helps us not feel so alone in all of this. And I want to encourage all of us to bring this intention into our day, into our week ahead, of really letting our emotions be these messengers, letting them carry us into this state of curiosity, asking these questions, peeling the layers, just allowing ourselves to go deeper and deeper, and asking ourselves constantly, is this true? Is this true for me right now? It may have been true for us before. Is this true for me right now? And is there any evidence that I can find some middle ground here? Okay, that is there any evidence that shows me that this belief isn't entirely true? And here's the last thing that I'll say as I'm closing this up. Very rarely is there any absolute, right? This is my mantra is always about find the middle, find the middle, find the middle, because very, very rarely is there any absolute. If this, then this one thing. So let's start to soften around our emotions, soften around the beliefs that they're carrying us to, starting to reclaim more of that middle ground for us, building our resilience and our true selves, bringing that more and more and more to the surface. All right. Thank you so much for joining me this morning, and thank you for participating in any way I really appreciate all of you. All right. Have a good day, everybody.